Hello, everyone, and welcome to the U360 Commencement and Capstone competition. I'm just going to give everyone just a few more minutes to join, and then we'll get started here. All right, so I think we're going to get going. Everybody good? All right, hello, everyone. My name is Molly Jacobs. I'm Manomet's Vice President for Environmental Education and Outreach, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to the U360 Commencement and Capstone competition. So as many of you know, U360 is Manomet is a conservation organization that works across the Western Hemisphere to conserve shorebirds, other types of birds, important habitats, and many other things. I've often been asked, okay, why do you have a business sustainability internship program? And my answer is that it's really simple. In many ways, U360 is central to our conservation mission because we deeply believe that in order to work effectively in conservation, we need to be really good partners with communities and businesses and all the different stakeholders that are involved. And so the reason Manomet has been able to be successful in conservation is that we're really, really good at pulling together coalitions, at pulling in stakeholders, at building partnerships with really, really diverse sets of folks. And in U360, we really, as an organization, we see the partners and stakeholders of tomorrow. And so the students that you're going to meet today are really, really remarkable. They're the people that are going to change the world, and they're going to do it in a whole variety of industries. Some of them may go into sustainability or conservation. Many of them will not, and that is part of the plan. We are really excited to have been part of the lives of these really remarkable folks during their U360 year. We're really looking forward to following their careers as they graduate from college and move on to do amazing things. And we're really excited to possibly work with them in the future. So U360 plays a very special role in sort of how we think about what we want our future to look like. So thank you again so much. And I think I'm going to, without waiting too much longer, I really want to introduce Laura Babb, who's the director of the U360 program. She is the one who has been making this program happen. She's been mentoring these remarkable students that we're going to hear from, who are going to be the highlight of the program today. Laura is somebody who had the vision to build this program from scratch and has built it into something that's really remarkable. And so I'm really excited to introduce her, to take it from here and sort of give you a taste of what we're going to see tonight. So Laura, why don't you take it from here? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Molly. And thank you all for joining us today for our U360 Commencement and Capstone competition for the class of 2023. With this culminating event, we conclude a 2-week competition. We bring another amazing U360 year to a close and celebrate all the exceptional students who participated in our business sustainability internship this year at Manomet. We will also see one student named Manomet's Next Generation Scholar for 2023 after watching our 3 finalists present their sustainability action plans for a small business to a panel of judges. But before I introduce today's presenting students to you and we start hearing their perspectives on sustainability, I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you more about U360 and exactly what all our students have done with us at Manomet this year. Today's younger generation is the largest in history, and known as the climate change generation, they will be disproportionately impacted by today's environmental, social, and economic challenges. of which there are many. With their futures affected the most, the next generation must be actively engaged and trained to make our world more sustainable. And one primary way college students can be part of the solution is through their future careers and workplaces, as Molly mentioned. And students from all disciplines, not just environmental majors, must be prepared to tackle today's urgent sustainability issues. We need increased participation from young people with diverse backgrounds who have the ability to create sustainability solutions that they can bring to any job or industry. However, college students often lack the real-world understanding of how practical sustainability works, and as well as the soft skills that employers most seek and are needed to be effective change makers. They need to know how to work with people who think differently from them and how to create practical solutions, and they must possess the professional and interpersonal skills necessary to engage others in problem solving. And these things cannot be learned through coursework alone. As such, U360 is designed to train the next generation of change makers, foster future environmental stewards, and give college students experience in 3 areas that are vital to solving today's complex sustainability challenges and that are not taught in the classroom. The first is career skills, specifically the ones employers most seek, like professionalism, teamwork, communication skills, creative problem solving, strategic thinking, and a strong work ethic. So then they can get hired in all sectors of our society and begin affecting change from the inside. The second is an understanding of practical applied business sustainability. The most effective way to engage businesses on environmental action is to demonstrate how the business will benefit from those changes and to talk about the business's sustainability as a whole, so its environmental, social, and governance practices, which is called its triple bottom line. So students leave U360 equipped with an extensive real-world understanding of both business management and how sustainability practices can help a company make money, save money, and reduce risks, in addition to being really good for the planet and society. And the third is the ability to work with people who think differently from them. Solving complex challenges like climate change requires bringing people to the table with different viewpoints, knowledge, and experience. And U360 teaches college students how to do just that, how to listen to where other people are coming from, to discuss issues in a way that speaks to another person's values, and to find common ground with diverse individuals in order to create solutions together. U360 is a 2-semester experiential education and professional development program, kind of like a cross between a course and an internship. The curriculum begins with 6 weeks of educational workshops and skills trainings focused on business sustainability principles, professional communication, time and project management, interview skills, and professional ethics. Then for the next 20 weeks, each student reaches out to approximately 150 small and medium-sized businesses of their choosing to request an interview about their current practices. Each student interviews up to 20 of those businesses and administers Manomet's Small Business Sustainability Assessment of their environmental, social, and governance practices. During the fall semester, the students interviewed a wide variety of businesses, and in the spring semester, each student chose an industry, topic, or business owner demographic to focus on and interviewed all businesses within that sector. After every interview, the business's data are analyzed, and I follow up with the businesses to give them their sustainability scores and access to our online toolkit that they can use to improve their practices. Consistently, 75% of businesses report that the experience of being asked those questions about their business was highly valuable, and over a third say it's highly likely they'll make changes to their practices as a result of that interview. The 6 million small businesses in this country have a large collective environmental footprint, but are often overlooked and underserved when it comes to sustainability efforts. With time, financial, and resource constraints, small businesses have many barriers that can make it challenging to prioritize sustainability. So U360 gives them the opportunity to evaluate their overall sustainability, many for the first time, while gaining tools to help them increase the overall health of their business. And for our students, this direct engagement with business owners provides them with the majority of their experiential education and professional development in U360. And then during the last 6 weeks of the program, each student creates a sustainability action plan for one business they interviewed with customized, highly researched, feasible recommendations for how the business could improve its sustainability practices. But more on that in a little bit. After creating their action plans, each student presents theirs to 2 U360 alumni judges, and a video recording is made of their presentation. The videos are then entered into the preliminary judging round, where a panel of sustainability, business, and/or environmental professionals view, evaluate, and score the presentations on several different criteria. The students who receive the top 3 scores in that round advance to our final competition, the event we're all here for today. Since piloting U360 in January of 2016 with just 3 students from the University of Southern Maine, the program has grown and expanded substantially. And this year, we expanded the program further than ever with our first student outside the East Coast. Over the past 7 years, 161 students have participated in the program from 52 colleges, and these students have engaged nearly 1,900 small businesses from all 50 states and 4 other countries. We're also very proud that U360 is helping to foster future leaders that are currently underrepresented in the fields of business and STEM, as nearly 80% of the students who have participated in the program are female, and 77% of this year's class identifies as BIPOC, or Black, Indigenous, People of Color. This year, 20 students enrolled from 18 colleges from throughout the East Coast, and for the first time ever, we have a student from a college on the West Coast. Over the past 2 semesters, 230 small businesses from 42 states and Nigeria had conversations with our students about their current sustainability. And keep in mind that more than 200 business owners took the time to talk with one of our students during an ongoing pandemic that has deeply impacted small businesses, which makes that number all the more impressive. Again, the purpose of U360 is to train and prepare the next generation to tackle the complex sustainability challenges that will most impact their futures. As such, the program is focused entirely on giving college students the real-world experience and the personal and professional development they need to be effective change makers. Our U360 students learn firsthand how dozens of different small businesses operate, gain vital career skills and meaningful work experience, see how the principles they're learning in school are applied in the real world, and develop the tools necessary to create a more sustainable world. Most importantly, they learn how to have hard conversations with people who think differently from them, find common ground, and create feasible solutions that make the world a better place. But the students wouldn't be able to achieve the educational or professional development objectives of U360 without the generosity of business owners and other professionals who give their valuable time to the students. People like our esteemed guests today who will serve as judges in our competition. Every year, our panel of judges is composed of 2 professionals in the business, sustainability, and/or higher education fields, and the winner from a previous year's capstone. I'm pleased to introduce you all now to our panel of judges for today's competition. I'd like to ask them all to join me on screen. All right. Excellent. There we all are. All right. First, we have Dr. Patricia Steiner, who brings 20 years of experience to the business community with specializations in leadership, strategic planning, organization and process improvement, and employee advocacy. Tackling implementation of business and process improvements to improve an organization's productivity has been Pat's focus for many years. She started her career as a software engineer and is now principal of her own consulting firm, VentureSphere, working with countless clients that include Google, Fidelity Investments, the state of Hawaii, Brigham and Women's Hospital, Mass Bay Community College, and Tradewinds Global, just to name a few. Pat is an accredited executive associate with the Institute for Independent Business and a certified business mentor, and did her doctoral work in leadership at Northeastern University. In addition to being certified as an assessor for both ISO 9000 and the Software Engineering Institute CMM program, she holds a certificate in re-engineering mastery from the Hammer Institute. Among other accomplishments, Pat holds a degree in music performance and has performed with the Boston Pops, the Florida Symphony, the Oakland Symphony, and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Pat also currently teaches classes for Cornell University and lives in Massachusetts. Thank you for being here today, Pat. And next we have Dr. Jono Anzalone, who is the Executive Director of the Climate Initiative, or TCI, a nonpartisan organization that inspires to educate, empower, and activate 1 million youth around climate action by 2025. He joined TCI after a long tenure at Red Cross, where he started as a youth volunteer in 1994 in Omaha, Nebraska. Most recently, Jono served as the head of disaster and crisis, preparedness, response, and recovery for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies for the Americas and Caribbean region based in Panama. And he also served as the Vice President of International Services at the American Red Cross based out of Washington, D.C. Jono graduated from Creighton University with a BA in political science, the University of Nebraska with an MS in economics, and a doctorate in educational leadership and higher education at the University of Nebraska and the Harvard School of Public Health and Kennedy School of Government National Preparedness Leadership Initiative. Additionally, he has earned the International Association of Emergency Management's Certified Emergency Manager credential. Since 2003, Jono has held teaching appointments in economics, disaster management, and leadership at colleges and universities across the country. Jono and his husband moved from Panama to Maine in 2020, where they currently live with their golden doodle, Penny. Thanks for being here today, Jono. And last but not least, we have Qingyi. Qingyi graduated from Boston University with a bachelor's degree in Earth and Environmental Science in 2022. She participated in our U360 program during the 2021-22 school year and was named Manomet's Next Generation Scholar at the Capstone competition last spring. After graduation, she held internship positions at both Clean Water Action and Fairstead LLC. During her time at Clean Water Action, she helped research legislative bills in Massachusetts and had the opportunity to attend summits and coalition meetings on discussions around environmental and social issues plaguing the environmental justice communities. That experience sparked her interest in the law, and Qingyi currently lives in New York City and works at Davis, Polk & Wardle as a litigation legal assistant. She plans to attend law school in the fall of 2025 and hopes to become a civil litigation attorney. During her free time, she enjoys crocheting, painting, and taking her dog Rocky out on walks. So good to have you back, Qingyi. All right, now on to the competition. So as I mentioned, each of these students will present their sustainability action plan for one business they interviewed this year. To maintain the confidentiality promised to the businesses, the students will not be specifying the business's name or exact location. They'll give biographical information about the business, identify what they see as the biggest external threat facing the business, and then present recommendations to improve its long-term viability, all of which must be highly researched, practical, feasible, and most importantly, beneficial to the business's bottom line. They will also specify the 2 recommendations they see as the highest priorities for the business to implement. These students will demonstrate how strong environmental, social, and governance practices can help a business thrive and prosper in a natural world and business landscape that are rapidly changing, while also attracting, engaging, and retaining talent and customers in the process. Following each presentation, the judges will ask the student questions to defend their action plan. The students will be evaluated on their answers to those questions, their presentation skills, and on the quality of their recommendations. They will also be judged on the case they make for how their action plan will benefit the business and increase its resiliency to the external factors most threatening its long-term success. A reminder that even though the students can't see or hear all of you out there watching, you can still cheer them on and applaud them in this virtual space. If you feel so inspired, feel free to use the chat feature to share your support and accolades. But please wait to do so until after the student has finished their Q&A with the judges, so as not to distract them with notifications popping up during their presentation. Thank you. After the final presentation, the judges will go to a private Zoom space to select the student who will be named Manomet's Next Generation Scholar for 2023 and win a $1,000 scholarship, along with our first and second runners-up who will receive $500 and $250 scholarships respectively. While the judges are deliberating, you'll have the opportunity to meet the entire class of 2023 as all of our students introduce themselves to you and share what they've learned this year about how to affect environmental and social change. Then around 5:45, our winner will be announced. And if any of you in the audience would like to talk with our students or myself after the event ends, please stick around after my closing remarks and we will enable your audio. Now, before I introduce the first student presenter, I want to say how impressive, passionate, and knowledgeable all of the students are that I had the privilege of working with this year. I'd like you all to take a second and think about yourself at their age and ask yourself, could you have ever called up business owners and interviewed them? And could you have done what our 3 finalists are about to do? The confidence and humility they've gained and the personal growth I've witnessed them experience is quite astonishing and incredibly inspiring. On the first day of the U360 internship every year, I promise my students that 2 of the many skills that they'll develop are adaptability and perseverance. For the first few years of the program, the primary way that students gained those skills was through the unpredictability that comes from engaging with busy small business owners and doing whatever you can to accommodate their needs and schedule. Then for the past 3 U360 classes, on top of learning those skills through small business engagement, they also learned it through navigating the turmoil, chaos, and stress of COVID, both with the myriad ways it impacted their educational experience and personal lives, but also by trying to correspond with and interview small businesses that were being deeply impacted by the pandemic. Despite dealing with the many stressors of the state of the world today and any personal challenges they might have experienced this year, the students you'll meet today kept showing up, kept pushing themselves to learn and grow, kept giving full effort to this program, and they kept seeking to understand how they can make the world a better place. They are truly amazing, and I could not be more proud of all they've accomplished this year in the face of adversity, or more excited to shine a huge spotlight today on these remarkable young adults. To all the parents of my students out there in the audience, please know that you have raised extraordinary human beings, every single one of them. And for those of you who are not their parents, please just take my word for it. This generation has maturity, empathy, compassion, determination, and a commitment to create positive change that is truly unparalleled. Trust me when I say that our future will be in excellent hands as they start to take the reins. It's been a true honor teaching and mentoring these students this year, and it is my pleasure to welcome them to the ever-growing community of incredible young changemakers that is the U360 alumni group. You'll have a chance to meet all of them shortly, but first we have a competition to conduct. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Maeve Staab. Maeve just graduated from Stonehill College in Massachusetts with a degree in environmental science. She is from White Plains, New York, and this spring, Maeve's chosen industry was the food system. This summer, she will be heading to Maine to work as an intern for our fisheries division at Manomet. And after that, her long-term plan is to do environmental research and conservation. And here's a video of Maeve back in September sharing what she was most excited about as an incoming U360 intern.
Hello, my name is Maeve Staab. I'm a senior at Stonehill College in Easton, Massachusetts, originally from Westchester, New York, about an hour outside the city. I major in environmental science with a minor in philosophy, and I'm very excited to be a U360 intern this year. And the thing I'm most excited about learning is how to communicate to business owners how to incorporate sustainability practices into their business that are good for the earth and their business.
And now Maeve will present her sustainability action plan for a music nonprofit in the Northeast.
This nonprofit is a recording studio. It is in an urban area, has been in operation for nearly 15 years, and has 18 employees. Its mission is to remove technical and social barriers between musicians and their vision by providing affordable music workspaces and professional development opportunities. This organization offers musicians low-cost practice rooms, recording studios, and community spaces. The organization recently moved into a new space. This new space is projected to significantly increase the operating budget of the organization and increase its impact. Because of the low prices, this organization's customers are primarily young adult musicians who are new to the music industry. Both individuals and institutions can rent spaces. When a space is rented out, equipment is provided as needed. For recording, this organization offers the flexibility of bringing your own sound engineer, which many studios do not allow. They also offer a course on sound engineering for people who would like to learn. This organization has many energy-saving technologies. They have replaced all their light bulbs with LED light bulbs, and their building is highly insulated to prevent wasted energy on heating and cooling. They also provide transparency to their customers. For example, they list their pricing online, while many other studios don't. As both a recording studio and a nonprofit, this organization competes for both customers and funding. Its competition for customers includes other recording studios, practice spaces, and at-home recording. They compete against other nonprofits for grants and donations. There are around 112 recording studios in their area and around 80 commercial spaces for musicians to practice. There are over 1.5 million nonprofit organizations in the country, with 250 nonprofits based in their area, 15 of which are music related. Most of this organization's funding comes from grants and donations. This means that they have to stand out to both community members and to donors and grants from anywhere in the country. Think for a moment about all of the different causes you care about and would donate to. Most people have many causes they care about and only so much charitable money to give. Grants are also very competitive, with 9 in 10 proposals rejected. Most grants also have restrictions on applying if the organization has already received the grant. With this much competition in both markets, it is important for this organization to have many different sources of revenue. The following recommendations will make this organization more competitive by increasing the stability of funding, improving the reputation of this organization, and making it stand out from its competitors. This organization relies on grants and individual donations for funding. As I mentioned, these sources of funding are very competitive. Also, studio equipment is one of the biggest contributors of global e-waste. I recommend that this organization hold a used gear fundraising event. During this event, they would accept donations of used gear and resell this equipment at a reduced cost. This would be a short-term event lasting about a week. This event would provide an opportunity for the organization to raise funds because the cost to run the event would be minimal. This event has 3 benefits. Firstly, it would prevent electronic equipment from being thrown away. Secondly, the marketing for the event will draw attention from the studio's target audience, price-conscious musicians. And thirdly, it will make a new revenue stream for the studio. This event will help the studio face the threat of competition for both customers and funding. Musicians interested in this organization's low-cost studio spaces may also be interested in recording at home. Famous musicians like Billie Eilish have recorded award-winning songs in a home studio. The pandemic has also made home recording more popular. This studio is not addressing this indirect threat because it only offers in-person services. I recommend that they begin a pilot program offering home recording rental kits. These kits would include everything you would need for home recording. Including all of this equipment, each kit would cost at most $1,060. Renting these kits would cost $35 per day, a lower price than other similar kits. With this price, they would remake the cost of the equipment in at most 1 month of time rented. Running this program on a smaller scale first would allow this organization to determine how much demand they will have for the kits before investing in a full-scale program. I recommend that they begin with 2 to 3 kits. This would give musicians the chance to try home recording for a reduced rate before buying the equipment. This would also create a new revenue stream and expand the studio's customer base, allowing it to compete for customers more effectively and stabilize its funding. This organization mainly focuses its services on adult musicians who are getting started in the industry. Offering programs to younger people could have many benefits for this nonprofit, including expanding the knowledge of the organization and appealing to future customers. I recommend that this organization build relationships with the local high schools. There are 8 high schools in the immediate area surrounding this nonprofit, with around 4,000 total students between them. Having standing relationships with these high schools could open the possibility of collaborating with them in the future. Their collaboration with the schools would depend on each school's needs, interests, and capabilities. For example, they may allow the studio to advertise its services to the students or host a collaborative event. This would benefit the organization because it would strengthen its connections in the community and open its services to a new audience. Advertising to this young audience would spark interest in future customers as they begin careers in the music industry. As I mentioned, waste is a huge issue in the music industry. About 1.5 million pounds of used strings from guitars and other string instruments go to landfills each year. This organization uses a single stream recycling service, but this does not include these kinds of commonly wasted music equipment. I recommend that this organization become a TerraCycle drop-off point for used instrument strings. TerraCycle is an organization that collaborates with companies and consumers to recycle hard-to-recycle waste. This process is easy and free. All that the organization would need to do is sign up for the program online and set out a box for used strings. Once the box is full, they can send the strings to TerraCycle for free. The studio will be listed on TerraCycle's website if they become a drop-off location, advertising to customers interested in this effort. No other studios in the area are drop-off locations, so with this program, this organization would stand out against competitors and attract environmentally conscious customers. This organization rents out space for other people to host events. This makes the studio reliant on other institutions to bring the community to their space. In addition to having other people rent their space for events, I recommend that this nonprofit begin hosting their own events for the community. These could include events for specific subgroups of musicians and professional development workshops. Based on their space, they could host events of up to 30 or 40 people. The cost of these events may vary with the number of people and type of event. However, for some events, they could sell tickets to offset the cost. They can use the existing space on their website and social media accounts to advertise these events. This would engage the organization's local community, improving word of mouth to potential customers. This would strengthen the organization in the face of competition by strengthening its relationship with the community. Although all these recommendations would benefit this organization, there are 2 I see as the top priority. A used gear drive would have a low upfront cost and high potential for raising funds. By hosting this event, this organization can become more well-known to people looking to get reduced prices for gear, which overlaps considerably with their service's main audience. This recommendation is a top priority for the organization because it does not require a lot of preparation or resources, but it would increase awareness of the studio through marketing for the event. Offering home recording kits for rent would immediately address a growing source of competition, and its cost would be made back quickly. After at most 1 month rented, each kit would help the organization to compete against the indirect threat of home recording. Both of these recommendations would create a new stream of revenue. The used gear event would be a short-term, low-investment option, and the home recording kits would provide a long-lasting income with the potential for growth. This organization's mission puts it in a position to be a centerpiece of the area's music community. In allowing this organization to thrive and improve, it will give back to the community by creating a space for musicians to create and collaborate. Each of these recommendations is an opportunity for the organization to create new streams of revenue, bring in new customers and donors, and increase its stability. Thank you.
I can go first if Jono and Patricia don't want to go. Okay. Maeve, thank you so much for your presentation. I really enjoyed learning about the organization.
Thank you.
My first question is regarding one of your prioritized recommendations for used gear funding to collecting used gear and then reselling that gear. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit more about the logistics of how that would happen. For example, are they only going to be logo donations? And if you were to resell, how would you go about delivering the gear, or would people have to come to the organization and pick up on site?
Yes, thank you for that question. The way that I imagine this event, it was mainly about the community. So people would be donating to the organization directly in person and then reselling or rebuying that equipment from the organization in person. The organization has some space to store the equipment during this event. It's a short-term event to prevent any long-term storage needed for the event. So they would store the equipment in their facility and people would buy it from the organization in person during the event.
Maeve, this is Dr. Steiner. Nice job with this.
Thank you.
I'm curious about who it needs to be some person in the organization who's responsible for making this happen. How much staff work is involved? Who's going to be doing this? Did you have a chance to discuss that?
Yes, thank you for that question. I did consider who would be doing these recommendations. So for the marketing, they already have a marketing person on staff. That's the person that I would be delegating to the marketing of these events. For TerraCycle specifically, they do offer posters and other advertisement materials on their website already. So there would not be much work for the advertisement person or the marketing person for that recommendation. However, for the other recommendations, that would be the person that I would delegate to that role. For the events, they also do have an event coordinator. That's who I would delegate to coordinating these events and making them happen. And for the schools, reaching out to the schools, I would imagine that the board of directors could take care of reaching out to the schools. If they have any connections to the schools, that would be very beneficial.
Thank you.
Of course.
I want to echo, really fascinating case study, and I love the incorporation of data into your presentation. So kudos on that. Mine is a little bit more on the deep dive of data. And I love this idea of, pardon me, thinking about the rental home market and the overall opportunities to expand into the high school systems. I'm curious, like not needing to know specifically the detailed financials of the nonprofit, but when I was thinking about like the home rental kits, I started to just like do back of the napkin math about like, all right, if they're open 5 days a week and you check out 2 to 3 rental kits at $35 a day, and then like, how long do they keep the kits at home? And like trying to imagine what was like the maximum revenue that the nonprofit could take. And I was curious if that came up either on the back of a napkin or a Google sheet or an Excel spreadsheet in terms of thinking about the brilliant idea of like diversified revenue sources. Because I was kind of curious if it was like in the $2,000 a month price range of new revenue, or $10,000 of new revenue for the organization.
Yes, thank you for that question. I had done some basic math, as you can see, about the time that it would take for them to make back that money that they spent on the gear. However, because this is a pilot program, it is designed, in my mind, it was designed to find out what interest there is for these kits before they invest in more kits, which is why I suggested that they start with 2 to 3. Dependent on the interest of the community and the number of kits that they get, the income that they could get from this recommendation would vary, which is why I did not include that math in my presentation.
Thank you.
Maeve, I love the reuse idea that you have here. And I'm kind of surprised that you spoke mostly about strings. I mean, there's so much that can be reused. And there are so many materials that shouldn't be thrown out. I'm thinking about mouthpieces for brass instruments. Students who are learning for the first time and don't have an instrument, maybe there could be some sort of an instrument library, or, I mean, I'm kind of wondering if there was something special about strings, and whether TerraCycle, would TerraCycle take anything else like reeds or mouthpieces or the hair from bows, for example. So I'd love to know more about if you thought about anything else, or if there's any other possibility other than guitar. It sounded like guitar strings.
Yes, thank you for that question. So the reason that I focus mostly on guitar strings is because that is the program for TerraCycle that most aligns with this organization's focus. There were no other programs in TerraCycle for music-related recycling, which is why I focus on instrument strings. In terms of your recommendation about used instruments, that's kind of the reason that I created, or the recommendation of the used gear drive. That was what I was considering. The recommendation for those kinds of recycling was people could donate those used instruments that kids used for practice when they were younger to sell to other children who would need that. So that's what I used to fill that gap of reusing materials in the music industry.
Picking off of talking about TerraCycle, I personally also have been on the TerraCycle website to see if I could, like donate some of my stationery and things like that. And I came across this issue of them not having enough resources, or like you have to be put on a wait list to be able to get that service from TerraCycle. So I was wondering if you did research into that and can tell me a little bit about how, again, the logistics would pan out. For example, is there like a specific channel for organizations that can donate, as opposed to, sorry, not donate, recycle, as opposed to an individual reaching out to TerraCycle?
Yes, thank you. So the waitlist, I know that there is a waitlist for some programs. The waitlist would depend on the demand of the program. So for some of the programs that you might have been looking at, they might have been more in demand than some other programs, like the ones that I'm looking at. In terms of individuals versus institutions, I am suggesting that they become a drop-off point, because it wouldn't require them to go through the process that you probably went through as a consumer, which it's just a drop-off point instead of them donating gear to another drop-off point.
I'd have a slightly, it's related to the idea of partnerships and kind of the community demographic. I was curious, as you were working with the organization, if there were any equity or social justice kind of cross sections that came into the affordability that comes from recycled program or a rental program, like not knowing about the geographical area that this specific organization is, if that kind of was woven in at all to any of the sustainability and revenue generating ideas.
Yes, thank you. This organization is in an urban area. So a lot of its customers, from what I could see, were people of color. That was a lot of their customer demographic. So yes, this does definitely play into that kind of equity issue that you're referring to here, in that they are in an urban area and are offering these low price options for musicians.
Thank you.
All right, I think, are we all set, everybody? Judges, good? All right, everybody. Yay, Maeve.
Thank you.
Very nice work. Congratulations.
Good job.
All right. So next up, we have Megha Verghese. Megha was a sophomore this year at Fordham University in New York, where she is majoring in business administration. She is from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, and this spring, Megha focused on businesses related to plants and trees. Once she graduates in a couple of years, Megha hopes to pursue a career in ESG consulting. And here's Megha's video from September, right before starting her U360 internship.
Hi, my name is Megha, and I'm currently a second-year student here at Fordham University studying business administration, but originally I am from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. When it comes to my U360 internship, I am most excited about interacting with small businesses and learning more about different ways businesses can be sustainable.
This business was founded in the late 1800s and has been family-owned and operated for 4 generations. Located in an urban center, this business has 125 employees, and its primary service is a physical weekly newspaper along with a subscription to its digital website and app. The business also offers a physical 6-day newspaper as well. The newspaper reports on a variety of topics, from local high school sports to national current events, and it's delivered to hundreds of houses daily and to over 300 stores locally, with a circulation of 48,000 papers per publication. The business strongly prioritizes using sustainable materials in its printmaking process. By combining new and old fibers, the business uses recycled paper for its product and also uses soy-based ink instead of petroleum. The business also has a strong digital presence. They have a website and app that are user-friendly and kept up to date, and they also have platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with tens of thousands of followers. Local newspapers are becoming extremely susceptible to competition on multiple levels. Every week, 2 newspapers in the United States are lost, and 1/3 are expected to be lost by 2025. These newspapers have to compete with large media giants such as the New York Times and CNN, but they also have to compete locally. This business competes directly with its statewide newspaper that has a circulation over 4 times its size. And that newspaper is owned by a larger media company worth almost $500 million. The threat of being bought out by these larger media companies is very real to local newspapers. The top 25 media companies own 1/3 of all local newspapers, and this number rises to 1/2 for daily local newspapers, such as this one. One media conglomerate can own dozens of newspapers all across the United States and can feed the same story to all of them, undermining local reporting. This business has reporters who are from the area and report on issues that the community cares about. And in order to remain locally owned and operated, this business must continue to adapt and advance in a rapidly changing industry. This business is in a very water-intensive industry, and while they currently work to reduce their water consumption by minding their printmaking process, every gallon of water this business uses is a gallon that they have to pay for, which is why this business would benefit from minding its water consumption in other aspects of its operations. I recommend the business install aerators in its bathroom sink faucets. An aerator is a simple twist-on device for bathroom sinks that introduces air into the water flow to reduce water consumption. One aerator would only cost $3 and reduces water consumption by 54%. This would save the business 700 gallons and $21 per aerator per year, showing a quick return on investment. In highly competitive industries, it's important to cut costs when possible so the business will have extra financial leverage to support it when revenues are uncertain, increasing their long-term viability against competition. Currently, the business has a fleet of propane-powered vehicles that deliver newspapers all across the county. I recommend this business institute route optimization software. By using the software, the business would have access to the most fuel and time-efficient routes available for their trucks. These routes would not only allow the business to deliver their papers faster, but would also save them fuel. There are a variety of route optimization platforms at varying monthly prices. However, I recommend the business utilize Speedy Route, as it has professional grade route optimization for only $69 per month, which is on the lower end of the spectrum. The business would quickly make its money back, as the average route optimization software would save them 20% on fuel and labor costs. Due to the fluctuating prices of propane, it is especially important for the business to reduce fuel consumption when possible, as being less reliant on expensive resources will make them more resilient to competition. Currently, this business has accepted over $1 million in donations to maintain its current operations. I recommend this business explore becoming a nonprofit. Becoming a nonprofit has become an increasingly popular trend among local news organizations. In 2020, there have been 284 local news organizations who have converted to nonprofits. This is double what it was less than 10 years ago. There are 3 key forms the business would have to fill out, and the business can meet with a free consultant provided by the state's Business Development Center to assist them throughout the process. There is also a free step-by-step guide on the process provided by the Institute of Nonprofit News. This trend has become so popular because by converting to a nonprofit, these local newspapers have experienced on average a 43% increase in web audience and a 41% increase in revenue. This is primarily due to the increase in tax-deductible donations and grant opportunities that businesses receive and the press they get when they convert to these nonprofits. By converting to this business model, the business would gain additional revenue streams from the donations and grants, while also increasing their potential audience, gaining a competitive edge. Less than 10% of Gen Z gets their news from local newspapers. I recommend this business start a consistent monthly column written by local high schoolers in the area. There are 15 high schools within a 5-mile radius of this business, and the business's marketing program could reach out to the high school's English departments or through their school newspapers for potential writers, and the HR department can create a training for those who are interested. The column can rotate amongst the high schools and would give the business an opportunity to bring in new voices as well as deepen its connection to the community. By having high school writers cover topics that interest them, they could bring in a younger audience, getting more impressions for their website and increasing their ad revenue. The business would benefit from drawing in a younger audience as it would allow them to better compete with the national outlets that currently have their attention. Hosting live events has become an increasingly popular way for local news outlets to gain additional revenue. Currently, this business advertises events in its area, but they do not hold any of their own. I recommend the business hold events tailored to the interests of their audience. For instance, if articles on high school sports are doing particularly well, I recommend the business hold a sports banquet, highlighting strong players in the area. Or if articles on climate change are doing well, the business could hold a panel inviting local experts to speak on the topic. The business can make money from these events in 2 key ways. The first being through sponsorships. The business would reach out to their current advertisers and ask them to fund this event in exchange for free advertising space at the event or on the website. The next way would be through tickets. The business could charge tickets to come to these events as well. Some publishers' events can drive revenues by as much as 20%, and holding these events can further the business's name recognition in the community, as well as emphasize its local ties, differentiating itself from its national competitors while bringing in additional revenue. While the business could benefit from any of these recommendations, I recommend that the business prioritize exploring converting to a nonprofit and investing in route optimization software. By exploring converting to the nonprofit, the business has incredible opportunity to increase its revenues by 41% and its audience by 43%. The business would gain opportunities to journalism-related grants, and its readers would be able to make tax-deductible donations. The business could also benefit from the tax benefits of property and sales tax that come with being a nonprofit. I also would recommend the business focus on installing route optimization software because of the cost and labor and fuel savings. This is a relatively safe implementation with a quick and guaranteed return on investment. The software will decrease route times for drivers, allowing them to make the products more quickly to the customers. And by installing this software, the business will decrease its labor costs by 20% at least. improving its bottom line, but also improving its environmental impact regarding fuel savings. This business has been an integral pillar of its community for over a century. However, it faces competition on multiple levels. By instituting these changes, the business can continue to foster a sense of community identity, maintain a healthy democracy, and create a stronger sense of interconnectedness amongst its residents for years to come. Thank you.
Megha, I want to ask you, I mean, this was so interesting and so well done. And at the beginning of your presentation, you talked a little bit about how to save. It sounded like it was a great sustainability project dealing with paper and how to use paper, and how dealing with the whole process of producing paper is very water intensive. And you mentioned some sort of a nozzle that could go on to faucets, something like this. I'm remembering this. And what I'm wondering is, how can you connect that idea with what sounds like the organization's biggest problem? Their biggest problem, as with a lot of local papers, is that the interest in local papers is falling. And it's too bad, because we really do need our local papers. But I couldn't figure out how the sustainability effort at the beginning could help with that major problem that they have.
Yes, of course. Great question. So some of my other solutions tackle on that interest problem with the high schoolers and the hosting events, but this part of the solution takes on the costs with running a paper. And part of the solution is to reduce the paper's water consumption. And one of the benefits of that is them having a reduction in their costs. And while this won't help people become more interested in this paper, by having this extra savings, the business will be able to better support itself when revenues are uncertain, or they can use this money to go towards their other projects to gain more interest in the paper.
I see. So you're really focusing on raising money. And I'm wondering how raising money can help with the big problem of these local papers, which is the waning interest in them.
Yes, that's why I have the high school component too, as well, to gain in, to get those young voices in and to get a younger perspective, to draw in more people, as well as the live event solution, which would gain more interest in the community and would develop a stronger connection with the community.
Great. Okay, that I heard. And what I couldn't figure out was, I mean, those things sounded like they would help the paper a lot more than the nozzle idea. But you know, if there's anything more you can tell me about how sustainability can play into keeping that paper going, besides cost, if there's some other aspect that holds this together.
Yes, I think sustainability has a huge role in keeping this paper going, not just in cost, but the paper can also differentiate itself from other competitors by showing their consumers that they care about sustainability and by reducing their water consumption in all other aspects. And the business currently does this. And by having this aerator solution as well, it would get those values into all other aspects of the business as well. So they would be more consistent in their message.
Okay, so they're letting people know that they're doing these things.
Yes.
Okay, that was what I kind of missed. Okay, thank you.
Going off of gaining greater interest and engaging with community, that aspect of your recommendation, in your research, when you were thinking about how this newspaper company could expand their audience and stand out from competition such as bigger newspaper companies like New York Times? Have you thought about, does this company have the capacity to do something like a podcast? Because I know the New York Times has their daily podcast, and obviously New York Times has a much bigger team and more resources to do their research. I was wondering, was that something that crossed your mind and something that they could implement? For example, just like 15 minutes of a podcast talking about the issue of the week or something like that. Because I don't know what the radius of the audience of the newspaper company is exactly, but do you think, was that something that crossed your mind? And yeah.
Yes, that was absolutely something that crossed my mind. And my answer to that is they do have a podcast already. So that's why I did not recommend that. But the fact of the matter is this business can't directly compete with these large media outlets, which is why I have my solutions focused on emphasizing those local connections to differentiate themselves from those outlets, as they've already done everything they can to keep up with them on a digital platform. They have a strong website and app that get millions of hits monthly. And they also have the podcast as well. So yes, that's why I didn't have that solution.
Megha, just to say, really fascinating kind of aspects thinking about the digitization of newspapers, and also the points you raised around just the decline in overall independence and the conglomeration that we're seeing in so many newspapers. I am curious, I don't know much about this industry in terms of the nonprofitization of the industry. And as an economist, I worry about, like, how do you convince a set of private investors that are seeing a return on their money to just turn that over for altruistic purposes, whether it is ESG related? But like, did you have any kind of thoughts about clever ways to say, hey, this is the best thing to do because, or is it financially feasible for them to see it as possibly a tax deduction, as you pointed out? Like, what were some of the thought processes around that transition that you were thinking about might be attractive for current investors or owners?
Yes, absolutely. When I was looking into becoming a nonprofit, one of the biggest struggles is, first of all, getting an endowment to have the nonprofit in the first place. And this business, the way that most nonprofit newspapers go about it is that it's not a great investment most of the time. These newspapers are dying. That's why they need to become nonprofits sometimes. But it's about maintaining a healthy democracy and having these altruistic perspectives and maintaining the sense of community connections. And I think this business has already done a great job of doing that, as they have had $1 million in donations already. So I don't see them having a problem with getting these funds in the first place. But yes, they do have to frame it in a different way, as it's not just an investment. It's about maintaining a healthy news source and avoiding this conglomeration that we're seeing. So it's much bigger than just the best investment possible.
Thank you. And I think that linkage to kind of free society and democratization ties nicely into ESG. So thank you for that reflection.
Megha, this sounds like a lot of work, and I'm just curious if you've thought about the staffing for this. It sounds like you need a czar, some sort of head of this program, because there's so much involved here. Have you added that into the cost of what it would take to pull this off?
For the nonprofit solution?
Well, for either solution, when you talk about the different programs that you are planning to do, when you're talking about the sustainability paper effort, when you're talking about the route, making your routes more I can't, I'm losing my words here, but you're going to save on fuel because of the routes for your papers. These are all something somebody's going to have to head up. And I'm wondering who does that and what is the cost? And if you've thought about how that fits into either one, either the not-for-profit or the for-profit program.
Yes. So when I was making these solutions, I made sure to have a balance of ones that would require a lot of manpower and ones that wouldn't. So for example, the route optimization, that's as simple as going to the website, getting the subscription, and giving the directions to the driver. However, on the other hand, with the nonprofit solution, that will require more manpower. They will have to put together a board of directors. They will have to work on auditing for the 990 forms. So those will include more manpower. In regards to specific costs, I've recommended exploring converting the nonprofit model to figure out those costs because there are different models that newspapers are going into, and each of those has their own separate cost. For instance, some newspapers have made part of their newspaper a nonprofit and part of it not a nonprofit. Some have made it entirely a nonprofit. So it really just depends on what process the business wants to go to. So in regards to that, there's not an exact number, but the route optimization, the aerators both show a heavy return on investment, and the hosting live events, the cost will also depend on what kind of events they want to have. And in regards to the high school journalists, the marketing and HR department will take care of that. And the business also offers free or paid time off for their employees to volunteer. So I thought in regards to that, their employees could use part of their time that they get to volunteer for nonprofits to volunteer for that project, reading the high schoolers' articles, things like that.
I just have one short question. I forget if you mentioned this at the very beginning, but does the newspaper company print their own newspaper, or is that with a third party factory?
They print their own newspaper.
Okay. Additional question, when you mentioned about water consumption, I thought you were going to do something with their like printing process. So is there any, it's okay if you don't have, didn't look too much into that because I know you focus on the business as business, but did you possibly look at ways they could reduce their water consumption during the printing process since they do it in-house?
Yes, the reason why I focused on the business itself instead of the printing process is that the business currently does do a lot to reduce its water consumption in the printing process. They used recycled paper, and also the machine for printing the newspapers takes up several stories and costs millions of dollars. And to make any more alterations to that machine would be simply too much for a small business right now, which is why I focused on the aerators as a low-cost alternative.
I think we might be short on time, but really quick question. Was there any consideration in addition or in lieu of the routing system converting to electric vehicles versus propane?
Yes, I did consider that, but they recently converted to propane vehicles, so I didn't think it would be wise to recommend another conversion so soon after.
Makes sense.
All right, yay, Megha.
Nice
Good job,
work.
good job.
Oh my God.
Good job, good job.
Oh my God.
All right. So now our third and final presenter today is Paige DuPuy. Paige just graduated from Boston University with an environmental analysis and policy degree. She is from Waco, Texas, and this spring, Paige interviewed all businesses related to indoor and outdoor recreation. This summer, she will be starting a job on the Risk and Decision Science team of the U.S. Army Engineer Research Development Center. And long-term, she plans to attend law school in a couple of years and pursue a career in environmental law. And here's Paige back in September, sharing what she was looking forward to in the coming U360 year.
Hello, my name is Paige DuPuy, and I'm a senior at Boston University, where I study environmental analysis and policy with a minor in history. I'm originally from Waco, Texas, but I'm currently in Allston, Massachusetts. For my U360 internship, I'm most excited to gain knowledge in the field of business through the lens of sustainability, as I don't have much of an educational background in business. I'm also excited to talk directly with small business owners and develop my professional skills through those interactions.
All right, and now Paige will present her sustainability action plan for an industrial supply company in the South.
This business has been family-owned and operated for nearly 70 years with the intention of keeping it in the family. They sell various compressed gases, metal welding tools, and industrial safety equipment to the local medical, industrial, janitorial, and food and beverage industries. For example, they sell oxygen to hospitals for ventilators, welding machines to construction companies, and CO2 to restaurants for carbonated beverages. They have 7 locations, employing 80 people total, and have plans to expand their business by 1 location. This company is not water intensive, but its offices have kitchens, work sinks, and bathrooms. Each office has low flow toilets and aerators on their sinks. They provide employees with competitive benefits, a healthy working environment, and a work-life balance. Employees also receive bonuses as a result of the financial success of the business. This business is threatened by the competition of large national and international corporations. These competitors range in size from 500 to 72,000 employees and are located nationwide, appealing to multi-state customers. This business does not have the equipment to produce its own gases. However, their competitors do, which lowers their costs in comparison to this business, which has to purchase gases. Over the years, same-size competitors were bought out by these corporations. Like these former small competitors, a buyout from a large corporation is this business's biggest threat. Because this business is expanding, I recommend optimizing energy efficiency and restructuring internal operations in order to reduce the threat of a buyout as this business competes into the future. This business owns 30 diesel trucks that make about 2,100 deliveries weekly in a radius of about 70 miles around each location. Currently, this business has no road policies in place that optimize routes or fuel efficiency. With how volatile fuel prices are, this is an area where they have potential to save money. I recommend this business adjust its transportation system. This could include delivery drivers planning out their routes ahead of time to ensure maximum efficiency and implementing a maximum idling time policy to conserve fuel and lower costs. It is a small but feasible investment that will increase workforce productivity and give the business more financial flexibility, both of which are crucial to staying competitive with these large corporations with more resources at their disposal. Across all 7 locations, this business currently uses a little over 40,000 kilowatts of electricity every month, the monthly cost averaging at about $5,500. At the moment, all of their energy comes from non-renewable resources. The region they're in has a predominantly warm and sunny climate, and this business's offices have large flat roofs. I recommend that this business invests in installing solar panels on the roofs of their offices. Implementation would require a significant financial investment, but could potentially save the business over $1.8 million in electricity costs in the long term. The federal government provides tax credits up to 30% of commercial solar equipment and installation with no maximum limit, reducing the size of this investment by thousands of dollars. There's a lot of flexibility with this recommendation. The business has the option of paying the cost upfront or through a zero-down monthly payment plan. Each location would need about 158 solar panels to cover their current electricity consumption, but it would be up to the business to decide the extent of installation, whether it's a partial installation, 1 location, or all 7. This large reduction in operational costs gives the business a financial cushion in the face of competition with large corporations that have more resources and flexibility. This business currently has no official process in place for reviewing and providing feedback to employees. These processes are a crucial part of the ongoing dialogue between owners, management, and employees. They allow employers to record performance over time and set expectations for the future. They also allow the employee the opportunity to advocate for themselves. I recommend this business implement an employee review and feedback process that allows all employees to receive formal and informal feedback on their job performance. Supervisors will be encouraged to provide informal feedback on the job through conversation or team meetings. and this business's HR rep will provide each location manager with the tools to conduct official performance reviews of their respective employees annually. This would not only improve employees' ability to adapt in times of uncertainty, but it would also motivate and retain the employees. Constructive feedback makes employees more likely to be engaged, and highly engaged employees are 87% less likely to leave their roles, decreasing the rate of turnover and increasing productivity as this business continues to operate into the future. This would also reduce the chances of miscommunication, dissatisfaction, or premature disciplinary action that could disrupt operations. Employee retention and risk reduction are crucial to the longevity of a business, and implementing a feedback and review process will help this business stay competitive and reduce the likelihood of a buyout. The majority of this business's major decisions are made only by the owners. Within family businesses, it's important that non-family employees feel respected and empowered, because if they feel excluded or see little opportunity for advancement, it could be difficult to motivate or retain them. It's generally wise to have a broad range of voices when making impactful decisions, and considering this business's plans to expand, decentralized decision-making is crucial. I recommend this business involve more of its long-term, non-family, upper-level employees in the major decision-making process. Implementation would be simple and require no monetary cost. Upper managers in any other role they feel important to consult can attend their quarterly meetings. This would allow for a wider point of view when making crucial decisions, establishing an organizational structure, and ensuring non-family employee retention, all of which are critical when facing uncertainty created by competition. This involvement will allow the business to reduce the threat of a competitor buyout. This business does not have and never has had an official business plan. A business plan is an important strategic tool for owners to achieve short and long-term objectives. As a family business, a plan would create alignment with family, ownership, and leadership around the future of the business. The current owners are the second generation, and only about 13% of family-owned businesses make it to the third generation. Additionally, businesses that have a plan grow 30% faster than those who do not. Considering the upcoming challenges of succession and expansion, I recommend this business create an official business plan and review it at least annually. The owners would collaborate with upper management on an official business plan and meet on an annual basis to review it. Creating this plan will go hand in hand with my previous recommendation of involving upper management to solidify this business's operations before expanding further. This will ensure strategic growth and reduce the risk of a buyout as this business is passed down. While this business could benefit from all 5 of these recommendations, there are 2 that I see as the most important for this business to prioritize: the creation of a business plan and the implementation of transportation policies. A business plan is a crucial tool that will allow this business to plan and secure its future as it continues to grow. Implementing a transportation policy is a quick and simple way to save money that could then in turn be invested into my other recommendations like the solar panels. This family-owned industrial and welding supply business is threatened most significantly by a competitor buyout. With these 5 recommendations, they can establish a more sustainable foundation to expand upon, reducing risk and increasing their resiliency to competitors in the short and long term. Thank you.
I'll dive in maybe. First, congratulations. Sounds like a very rich case study in so many ways, and especially looking at sustainability from an environmental perspective in such an industry, not an easy nut to crack. One question that I had was specifically regarding one of your top recommendations and kind of thinking about the business plan and really the readiness of the family or the culture of the family leadership and then being willing to kind of go down that journey of a more formalized process and contingency planning and business planning. And curious, nothing to disclose anything confidential, but is your sense that the business was ready to really embark on a more formalized process, kind of recognizing all of those external threats around consolidation?
I definitely think so. I think especially considering their plans to expand, especially with the challenge of succession coming up. I think they are very open to the idea of a more formalized strategy and a more structured way of operating things with this business as they move forward.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding your recommendation for transportation, specifically planning routes ahead of time. Did you also look into softwares, or I know you mentioned that like the driver should plan ahead of time, so is the responsibility on them, or will the company be providing some sort of like set of instructions for the drivers?
Yes, so this recommendation has a lot of flexibility. There is a free web plugin for Google Maps called Zero Route Planner that provides optimization for delivery drivers for completely free. So on the no cost level, if they didn't want to invest any time into this, they could just download that plugin and the drivers could optimize their routes themselves. It's very easy and straightforward. There are also like Megha mentioned in her performance, there are also softwares that you can invest in if maybe there's certain routes that are more complicated or have more stops that maybe the software doesn't have the ability to optimize. There are definitely other options that they could look into. And they would also have the option to start out with the free one, and as they save money on fuel costs, they could maybe then invest into one of the more efficient ones.
Paige, really good job on this. I have two questions. I'll ask the first one and then see if we have time for the second one. I am so glad to hear you're talking about a business plan, because 95% of all businesses fail that don't have a business plan. That's key. I don't know how long they've been in business, but I'm amazed that they've been in business for a day without a plan.
Almost 70 years.
70 years without a plan. Okay. I have never experienced this myself. Interesting that it's a family business without a plan. Family businesses are extremely challenging. So what about a marketing plan? That's really my first question. And what you could actually do with a marketing plan.
You know, marketing is not something I had considered very much, specifically because most of the people they're selling to are companies and industries rather than individual consumers. There is the rare time that, you know, maybe someone will walk in and buy a welding machine, but on average, these are people buying supplies regularly. And so I just don't really know how much opportunity for advertisement with that there is, given that their customers are regular people that are coming back. I just am not so sure how effective a marketing strategy would be, just given the fact that the average consumer targeted by advertisement is not someone in an industry requiring welding machines and compressed gases. So it's just, I feel like it's a little bit of a much more specific target audience that might be pretty difficult to advertise to.
So a marketing plan wouldn't help the company get more customers. And let me just quickly ask you my second question, which is, you mentioned the concern about buyout. Is this company a public company? Because otherwise, that would be up to the owners of the company There's no forced buyout if they're not a public company.
Right. The buyout would happen in the event that the owners felt that they just couldn't keep up with the operational costs anymore and had no other choice but to accept the buyout. The owners are passionate about this business and have no interest in a buyout and would like to keep the business in the family. So even though a buyout wouldn't be a forced move, it is a loss, at least in my book, because this is, you know, a locally family-owned business that has roots in this community and are serving these local communities, and that would be replaced by large international, national corporations. And so, yeah, while it isn't the same as going bankrupt or going out of business, I do still see it as an overall loss.
It's going to sound like a repeat question, but especially given the data points that you offered around 30 diesel trucks, 2,100 deliveries, the cost accountant in me was thinking, oh my gosh, those are big cost drivers. Paired with your idea around solar, I know it wasn't prioritized, but I can't help to think about, again, kind of the electrification of their fleet, and kind of curious if there were considerations around that, you know, I selfishly was like, ooh, the solar panels plus the fleet makes for a really amazing cost and effective environmental sustainability pitch. But if that came up at all in your considerations around the fleet.
Yes, definitely. So I did look into electrification as well as alternative fuels like biodiesel. Unfortunately, this company does exist in the South, and the options for alternative fuel sources and electric charging stations are very few and far between, especially considering this business's locations are not in large urban hubs. These are more in smaller cities out on highways where it's easier to transport things to and from. So yes, electrification and biodiesel just weren't feasible options for this business at this time. But definitely as the infrastructure improves, I think that it will definitely be a possibility in the future for them to look into.
One question back to marketing. So currently, does the business, do they get business by word of mouth?
Yes, word of mouth. They also are very involved in the community. They sponsor a lot of, little league teams, plays, theater events. They have a pretty well-known recognition, at least in the city of their headquartered location. Word of mouth, definitely. And they do have a website that has all of their products and services listed, but they don't have any sort of Instagram or any sort of other outreach, any sort of tool for outreach.
Okay. And just one more small follow-up. So are they, when you mentioned, when you were talking about the external threat and talking about competition and buyout, was the buyout, did that come up because there's something happening with the business, like there's a potential, there's an offer being made, or was that just something that you saw as a foreseeable possibility in this business's future?
Yes, that's just the most common outcome for businesses of this nature in this industry of this size, especially. All of the other small competitors of a similar nature were bought out by competitors, and that is largely due to succession problems. And so that's just a very common problem for businesses like these that I think it's important for them to address.
Thank you.
All right. Yay, Paige.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great presentation.
Congrats, Paige.
Okay. So now that you've seen these 3 presentations, I'll share that the students only had 5 weeks to put their projects together. 5 weeks. And their action plan was based on just a 1-hour conversation with the business owner, along with a lot of research, as you just saw. So let's have another round of applause for our 3 students who all did such an excellent job. Yay. And thank you so much to Patricia, Jono, and Qingyi for being such great judges. I definitely do not envy the task that's in front of you right now at all. So at this time, our judges will be leaving to go to a private breakout room where they'll deliberate and determine this year's winner. So thank you, the 3 of you, and we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, and in the meantime, while we await their decision, you'll have the opportunity to hear from all of the students in this year's U360 class. But first, I have some thank yous to extend to several people. All right, and there should be a slide popping up here momentarily. There it is. So to begin with, I would like to express my utmost appreciation to our team of preliminary judges who gave the invaluable gift of their time and expertise last week as they viewed, evaluated, and scored the students' presentations. Some of the judges are also U360 alumni who are out of school and are now business and/or sustainability professionals, and you can see which U360 class they were a part of on this slide. So a huge thank you today to Emily, Gabrielle, Julie, Kate, Carrie, Lauren, Leah, Mallory, Marina, Nick, Rachel, Richard, and Tom. Thank you so much, all of you. And I would also like to take a moment to recognize our amazing program coordinator, Claire Capella, who does an incredible job keeping this program running smoothly, and I would certainly be lost without her. She also happens to be a U360 alum herself from the class of 2017. And both Claire and I would now like to thank 11 extraordinary individuals who were so integral to the success and outcomes of this year's internship. Every year, we have a team of alumni assistants, former U360 interns who are invited to continue with us at Manomet as volunteer program assistants. And there aren't words to express the amount of gratitude we have for this group that we call the A-Team. These alumni are so committed to helping U360 and our interns succeed that they give countless hours of their time on top of a full course load or a full-time job to coach and mentor the current students, to assist us with various program tasks, and to promote U360 to prospective students as we recruit the next year's class. To say they're our right-hand people would be a gross understatement, and U360 would certainly be a lesser program without the time, perspective, talents, and care they give to us and our students. So everyone, please join me in applauding the unsung heroes of this year's U360 internship. A huge thank you to Abby, Alex, Alondra, Anne, Autumn, Cynthia, Desiree, Julia, Kenzie, Lily, and Max. And last but certainly not least, I want to thank all of the students in this year's class. On behalf of all of us at Manomet, thank you for your incredibly hard work, for your dedication to this program, and for your determination to be change makers. And thank you for bravely contacting small business owners to talk with them about sustainability. I know it's not easy putting yourself out there or picking up the phone to call someone you don't know, but you all did it. And because of you, over 200 small business owners had the opportunity to think about ways they could improve their overall sustainability for the first time during an ongoing pandemic when they've never needed that more. You all set the wheels in motion, and your action will have rippling effects that will make the world a better place. So for that, we all thank you. And on that note, I'd like to ask the entire U360 class of 2023 to join me now. Yay. Hello, everyone. Everyone's popping onto screen. Hi, everybody. Yay. Okay, so before we begin hearing from all of you, I just want to take a moment to recognize one member of this year's class who wasn't able to be here this evening. Ashika Shakia, a rising junior and environmental studies major at New York University, who is from Nepal. So I think all of you, yep, we have all of you here. So everybody's gonna go around and introduce themselves. You're gonna hear who they are, where they go to college, where they're from, what they're studying. They're gonna tell you what their spring topic was, what their business sustainability action plan was. And I'm gonna ask all of you to answer one question. So I'm curious if you could share what you've learned this year after you've introduced yourself, if you could share what you've learned this year in U360 about how to be an effective change maker. And how do you think you'll apply what you've learned after leaving the program to help affect positive environmental and social change? So after you introduce yourself and answer that question, you can go ahead and invite one of your fellow colleagues to introduce themselves next. So does that sound good, everybody? All right, so let's see. How about you, Trish? Would you like to kick us off?
Hey, Laura, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Trish Hirano, and I am from Orange County, and I currently go to school at UCLA. I am a sophomore. I am studying cognitive science and accounting. My spring topic were businesses in the food industry. I ended up doing my case study about a consulting firm in California. After college, I hope to do consulting, which made my company very interesting to study. And this program has taught me how focusing on the triple bottom line not only helps society and the environment, but can help businesses save money, make money, and reduce risks. And with this knowledge, my goal is to leverage my expertise and consult companies by assisting them in adopting sustainable practices that can contribute to society. So, Peculiar, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you, Trish. Hello, everyone. My name is Peculiar Joseph, and I'm originally from Nigeria, West Africa. I just finished my sophomore year at the State University of New York at Plattsburgh, with majors in biomedical sciences, entrepreneurship, and political science. My spring topic was women-owned businesses, and the business I used for my capstone was an engineering firm in the Northeast. After college, I'm planning to go to medical school somewhere, hopefully in the Northeast. And this program was really great. One thing I will continue to remember is the ESG model. I'm an entrepreneurship student and I'm looking to own a business myself. So when it comes to, planning a business, I'm always going to keep in mind that environmental, social, and governance is very important. And that is something I never knew, coming into this program. So that's something I'm going to learn, and having conversations even in the industry about it is going to, change something and change the narrative of, starting businesses and just maintaining businesses in the long run. Paige, do you want to go next?
Sure. So yeah, hello again. My name is Paige DuPuy. I'm from Waco, Texas, and I just graduated from Boston University this past Sunday with my degree in environmental analysis and policy. So yeah, my spring topic was the field of recreation, but I did my study on an industrial supply company, which is not recreation, but and yeah, post-grad, I will be working with the risk and decision science team on the U.S. Engineer Research and Development Center. And eventually I want to go to law school. So yes. So yeah, something I've learned this year about being a change maker is that every stakeholder has different motivations and different priorities, whether it's financial, social, environmental, cultural. And it's crucial to be able to see things from each other's perspectives and consider how the changes that we're so insistent on making happen will actually impact people. Talking to small business owners in regions all across the United States with different lifestyles and points of views really gave me a lot of insight into how to approach these topics with people with different perspectives. And yeah, I look forward to taking these skills and applying them in my work and eventually in practicing law. So yeah, Nicole, would you like to go next?
Sure, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Valencia. I am from North Bergen, New Jersey. I just completed my sophomore year at New Jersey City University, where I'm double majoring in data analytics and marketing. My spring topic was businesses that fall under communications. For my case study, I chose a publishing company in the Northeast. After college, I'm planning to start my own digital marketing company. After participating in U360, I learned that a little truly goes a long way. There are small changes that can save businesses hundreds of dollars in the long run. For example, incorporating motion sensing lights. I will carry my knowledge into my future career to hopefully make a change. Nikisha, would you like to go next?
Thank you, Nicole. Hi, everyone. My name is Nikisa Hoagland. I am originally from Washington, D.C. I just graduated from Skidmore College with a degree in environmental studies. My spring topic was women-owned businesses, and I focused on a food manufacturer in the Northeast for my case study. After college, I'm really interested in diversity and equity initiatives, so I hope to work something related to that, preferably in a college environment, but eventually I would like to go to grad school. What I learned about becoming a change maker is that it is so important to just have conversations with people, all different types of people, even people who you may not share opinions or thoughts with. Talking to these business owners over the past year really opened my mind about what it means to be focused on sustainability and be a business owner. And I realized that just talking to people and having conversations can make all the difference and make people realize, that the little things make a big difference. And I hope to incorporate that into every aspect of my life and career in the future. And I would like to pass it on to Megha.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Megha Verghese, and I go to school at Fordham University, where I just finished my sophomore year studying business, but I am originally from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. My spring topic was on businesses involving plants and trees, but I ended up doing my case study on a newspaper. I think my biggest takeaway from the U360 program is just the power of a conversation, similarly to others. I'd like to go into ESG consulting one day, so that would involve a lot of conversations with business owners. And just from all the conversations I've had in U360, I realize every change just starts with talking to someone about it. And I think that's something that I will take into my future endeavors, the ability to look at something and someone's values and be able to tell them how sustainability can fit into those values. And I think I'll pass the mic off to Maeve.
Thank you, Megha. Hi, everyone. My name is Maeve Staab. I just graduated from Stonehill College. I was a senior this year. I graduated on Sunday. I graduated with a major in environmental science and a minor in philosophy. My spring topic was the food system. My case study was a music nonprofit in the Northeast. And after college, I'm doing another internship with Manomet, and then I plan on trying to become a conservation researcher. And this year in U360, I've learned how to communicate concepts that people have never heard before in a way that they'll understand and relate to. And now that I'm leaving the program, I plan on using that skill to convey the scientific knowledge that I generate as a researcher to an audience outside of the scientific community. And I'd like to introduce Jongwon.
Hello, my name is Jongwon, or just John, and I'm from Korea. And I went to the University of Connecticut, and I just graduated. And my major is natural resources with a minor in GIS. And my spring topic was the same as in natural resources. And I focused on a civil engineering firm in a city for my case study. And I'm planning on continuing my studies as a master's student in the same university, UConn. And the biggest thing I've learned from U360 is the concept of ESG and its rising importance in our world. I'm actually doing another internship here in Korea where I'm researching ESG recommendations for a large paper company by looking at the ESG policies of paper companies that have the best practices in the industry in the US or the EU. So I would like to pass it on to Judel.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Judel Panetta, and I am from Oak Ridge, New Jersey. I am a rising senior and a marketing major at Rutgers University. My spring topic I chose to do was Asian-owned businesses, and my case study business was an indoor recreation facility in California. After college, I am hoping to travel around the world for a bit to seek new experiences and connections while applying to jobs in the marketing field and eventually start my master's. Throughout this year in U360, I have learned a number of things on how to be an effective change maker. For instance, learning about what sustainability is, the impacts of what we have on our environment, and the variety of practices and solutions we can take to be more sustainable. Knowing these have made me more knowledgeable about what I can start doing now in order to make change. I think I will apply what I've learned from this program and incorporate them into my everyday practices and even teach my family members and even suggest it to my future career. Now I'd like to invite Jocelyn to introduce herself.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jocelyn Aguilar. I'm from North Bergen, New Jersey. I just finished my sophomore year at New Jersey University, and I'm majoring in business management with a concentration in finance. What I'm hoping to do after college is to have a position in a corporation or a financial services company. And in my spring semester, I focused on women-owned businesses. And my case study business was based on a landscaping company in the Northeast. This year, U360 has taught me so much about sustainability and how it can be viewed through different lenses that can benefit one as an individual and the environment. Before U360, I did not realize how sustainability would be very important in the management of businesses. And so it's been eye-opening to learn how businesses can innovate and expand while also addressing environmental and social challenges. Because of my U360 experience, I'm looking forward to finding businesses that incorporate the triple bottom line during my job research, and also will think on my day-to-day life on how I can make a change in my community. I would like to take it next to Isabel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel Volpe, and I'm from Pittsburgh, PA. I go to Loyola University, Maryland, and I just completed my sophomore year there. I'm a global studies major minoring in environmental studies and writing. My spring topic was communications, and for my case study, I focus on an ice cream company based in the Northeast. I hope to go into journalism or marketing in the future. When it comes to being an effective change maker, I think that communication and professional skills that I have learned throughout U360 are a huge part of creating change. When you're able to get your point across in an effective, cohesive, and polite way, you are much more likely to create change. I hope to apply the skills that I have learned both professionally and collaboratively in U360 within the classroom setting at my university, as well as in my next internship or future job. Helen, if you could take it away.
Hi, my name is Helen, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I have just graduated from Stonehill University with a bachelor's in engineering science and a minor in biomaterials. I will be returning to the same school for my master's degree in materials science. My spring topic was on manufacturing, and my sustainable action plan was on an optical manufacturer in the South. In U360, I've learned about the intricacies in making decisions for small businesses and how it can have a major effect on the triple bottom line. And since I'm an engineering major, I learned business and sustainability a lot from this internship. And after leaving this program, I'll be applying this knowledge towards making decisions and learning how to integrate these sustainability and business principles towards engineering. And that's all I have to say. I will be passing it on to Haoming.
Hello, everyone. My name is Haoming Fan. I come from China. I study at Union College with economic major, and I will be graduating next month with a bachelor degree. I plan to study project management in a specific focus on sustainability at Northwestern University. And my spring topic was on a communication industry, and I eventually interviewed an advertising company located in the Midwest. During this one-year internship with Manomet, I learned and improved my professional communication skills, such as professional email writing and vocal communication with business owner. I also realized the financial constraints and practical companies that small business are currently facing, which stop them from using environmental friendly products. What I learned from the internship inspired me to continue study project management, focusing on sustainability. And my future plan is to become a business consultant to help companies to save money, make money, and reduce their environmental footprint. Now, I'd like to invite Eduardo to introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Eduardo Sosa. I'm from Caracas, Venezuela. I'm currently studying at the University of South Carolina. I'm majoring in finance with an environmental studies minor. My spring topic was urban development, and for my case study, I interviewed a rural nonprofit in the Northeast. I think that what I've learned the most in Manomet is the triple bottom line, and also how I have developed professionally and how to send emails and call and make phone calls. For the future, I would like to work in a consulting firm, sustainability consulting, or any sustainable team in any country. I'm really open to many options. So I think that's it. I'm gonna go to Birma Pinto. Take it away, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Birma Pinto, and I am from Angola. I just graduated from Hudson County Community College in New Jersey, Jersey City, with an associate in engineering and science. My spring topic was health and wellness, and my sustainability action was about a cannabis dispensary on the South Coast. After I get my bachelor in biomedical engineering, which I will start in this fall, I plan to work as a biomedical engineer scientist. More than learn about sustainability this year, I learned about teamwork, and I cannot emphasize enough how effective it is regarding sustainability. I saw the huge impact that can be made when various stakeholders come together to work as a team. And I will actively seek opportunities to work with diversity stakeholders to make the world a better place. I will pass to Angelo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angelo Panadalone. I'm from Bayonne, New Jersey. Currently, I attend New Jersey City University, just finishing up my second year while majoring in business management. My spring topic was on outdoor guides, specifically a garden center in the Northeast. I'm hoping after college to be a part of a company sales representative team. Being in U360 this year, I've learned how to speak when wanting to be an effective change maker. Not only has my professional language gotten better throughout the year, and how not to be silent. Instead of non-engagement through silence, there can always be engagement by having confidence. I apply what I've learned to help effective, positive environmental and social change by having the ability to actually speak to large amounts of people with a better understanding of what the subject may be about. I'd like to invite Anna Curran to introduce herself.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Anna Curran. I am from Pembroke, Massachusetts, and I graduate from UMass Boston on Thursday with a degree in environmental studies and sustainability. My spring topic was on the food system, and I did my case study on a food packaging manufacturer located in the Midwest. I think the thing that was the most beneficial for me through U360 is learning how to confidently communicate with small businesses on what they can do to make money, save money, and be better for the planet. I would like to pass it to Allie.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Zimmerman. I'm from New Milford, New Jersey. I just graduated from Binghamton University with a degree in environmental science. My spring topic was natural resources, and my case study business was an environmental consulting firm in the Northeast. I am planning on going into environmental consulting. There are quite a few things that I have learned from U360. One is understanding the interconnectedness of social, economic, and environmental issues, and recognizing the need for holistic solutions. I have also learned how to collaborate and communicate with diverse stakeholders and business owners about sustainability issues. This will help me seek out organizations and initiatives that align with my values and goals, and will also help me to educate others on ESG and sustainability issues. Now I'd like to pass it on to Aaron to introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, Ellie. And hi, everyone. My name is Aaron Gallinger. I'm from Maplewood, New Jersey.
I'll be graduating this weekend from the University of Delaware with a dual degree in environmental studies and political science. My spring topic was urban land use, and my action plan is on an architecture company in the Midwest, and I'm looking to pursue a career in the field of sustainability after graduation. What I learned about how to be an effective change maker through this program is that in order to bring about change, you have to know how to communicate with people who don't agree with you just as well as you can with people who do agree with you. I think that's something that I'll carry with me both professionally and in every facet of my life. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. So I think Erin is the last one. So that wraps up our Meet the Class of 23. I told all of you out there that this is an incredibly impressive group of students. So yeah, they're all popping back out now because I know you in the audience can't see this, but the judges have returned to the back end. So it does look like we have a decision. So yes, we're going to move on now to the part of the event we've all been anticipating. And at this time, I'd like to introduce one of our trustees, Louise Conant, who will be announcing this year's winner. So Louise, if you would like to join me on screen. So Louise has been on our board of trustees since 2011 and was one of our counselors before that, starting in 2005. However, her connection to Manomet began over 40 years ago when her father-in-law took her on birding trips at dawn and taught her how to use binoculars. Prior to retiring, Louise was an English teacher, a poet in the schools in Wellesley, Mass, and an Episcopal priest. She has also attended every U360 capstone since its very beginning, and we're thrilled to have her here this evening as our featured trustee. Thank you so much, Louise, and I will pass it off to you.
Laura, you told me that my job was to make it clear to all these students how proud we are of them. And what I've heard makes that a very easy job. I see you as the fulfillment of 50 plus years of Manomet history. More than 50 years ago now, a few white, fairly privileged New England people got together to study and protect the shorebirds that turned up on Plymouth Bay. They were committed and they were hardworking, but it wasn't enough. Those birds were going lots of other places and they were in danger all the way. So that little group called Manomet started connecting with all those other places. They listened hard to the people who made their lives there, people who were often very different from themselves. They learned about what mattered to those people and how their lives depended on those places too. They worked to find common ground. And then they enlisted their help to study and protect the birds around them. Now there are 115 such places, shores and marshes and grasslands, where tiny Manomet joins with all those people. Many of them are not white and not privileged, but all of them have a stake in the earth's well-being. And together they help those birds to thrive. But it's not enough. Those places are affected by forests and by fisheries. So Manomet started to work with fisherfolk and foresters too. Even that wasn't enough. The next generation needed to learn about what Manomet knew and then to pass it on to their children and their grandchildren and all those people who don't know what caring for the environment had to do with them, who were caught up in lives that seemed very far removed from the natural world. And so here you are. You've already seen Manomet working hard to learn the needs and languages of local communities and then to work with them. You've seen folks discovering a new way to make a living as the old ways disappear. You've heard the story of Manomet and its partners turning invasive, destructive green crabs into a new luscious food source. You've witnessed a whole community joining with Manomet to protect the horseshoe crabs that are essential to both the local fisherfolk and to migrating shorebirds. You already understand some things better than my generation did. In your short lifetime, you've seen changes that put your world in danger. There's a lot to make you angry and a lot to cause some people to give up hope. But you've refused to settle for that. Already you've overcome some hard challenges, some big obstacles, even just to be here. Against all the odds, you've chosen to give a part of your precious college time to figuring out how to make a difference. You've refused to accept the common belief that business and sustainability must always be enemies. You've chosen to insist that the ultimate bottom line isn't money, as important as that is, but the future of the earth. Sometimes it seems that nobody's listening, but you've chosen to ignore that. You've had help from Laura and a throng of other experienced scientists and teachers and your own classmates, and your parents who marvel at who you are now and what you've done. You're finding your voices and making them heard. Hundreds of small businesses have heard from you a new way of thinking, a way of asking questions that they've never met before. You may be surprised suddenly to find yourself respected as an authority. Many have listened and changed. It's not enough, not yet. You know that. But Manomet has a habit of imagining that something very small can grow and spread and transform. You've chosen to join that tradition. The power of your imagination, your vision of what could be, can lead us older folks beyond our own limited sight. Many years ago, President John Kennedy was doing what politicians do, appearing at Cape Canaveral and working the crowd. He stopped to chat up a young man. And what do you do here? The simple answer would have been, I park cars. But the young man answered, we're putting a man on the moon. Whether you've chosen to focus on private enterprise or public policy, economics or science, you're shooting for the moon. May all of you reach your moon and far beyond. Congratulations from all of us. And now, that moment that you've all been anxiously awaiting. I want the three finalists to join me, please. Everybody here? Our next generation scholar for 2023, winning a $1,000 scholarship from Manomet, is Paige DuPuy from Boston University for her presentation about an industrial supply company.
Thank you so much. It's such great news.
Yes, thank you.
Great job, Maeve and Megha as well. Great presentations.
Our first runner-up is Megha Verghese from Fordham University, who will receive a $500 scholarship from Manomet for her presentation on a local newspaper in the Northeast.
Thank you.
And our second runner-up is Maeve Staab, who will receive a $250 scholarship from Manomet. She's from Stonehill College and spoke about a music nonprofit in the Northeast. Another round of applause, please. Unmute yourself to applaud our winners.
Congrats, guys.
Great job, guys.
Congrats.
Again, we give you our congratulations, our love, our hope for the future. We will be watching and cheering for you as you change the world.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Louise. Your words were beautiful. Congratulations, Paige, Megha, and Maeve. So proud of you. And thank you all so much for attending today. It's hard to believe that we are wrapping up another year, and I appreciate everybody who is here to celebrate with us. So thank you so much. And if you would like to learn more about Manomet and our various programs, you can visit us at manomet.org. And I think one of my colleagues may be able to throw our website in the chat so you all can see it in the audience. I would be remiss if I did not mention that we're currently accepting applications for next year's U360 class. So if you know any college students who might be interested, please spread the word, and we can put the link to the job description in the chat as well. And I just want to take another moment to thank Molly for kicking off the event, to our 3 judges, Pat, Jono, and Qingyi, and to Louise for closing out this event. And just, if we could have another huge round of applause and congratulations to all of the students this year as they now officially become alums of U360. Hey. Yay, and I hope today has given you a healthy helping of hope and optimism, and just thank you so much again for being here. And as I said at the beginning, if you'd like to talk with me or any of the students, you can stick around and you can ask questions in the Q&A box. Otherwise, I hope you have a great evening, and I hope we get to see you again sometime soon.